In this video, you'll see what happened when I built 3 custom slot cars to try and break the official Scalextric's land speed record, modifying standard cars in 3 different ways with bigger motors, higher gearing, and even a powerful rocket booster. As a kid, I had a Scalextric set like this one and always wondered how fast could the cars go if pushed to their limits. Scalextric's cars usually top out at about 7 to 8 miles an hour, but all the way back in 2008, a TV program called The Gadget Show set an officially recognised speed record of 30.94 miles an hour, which is pretty quick for these tiny 1/32nd scale cars. Right, to start our Scalextric's land speed record program, we would begin by using off-the-shelf upgrade components to improve a standard Scalextric's car and see how far off the record it would be. We decided on a Mini for this car, which might seem like a strange choice for a land speed record, but a Scalextric's Mini is one of the most lightweight Scalextric's cars available, meaning it should be fast. But exactly how fast? In real land speed record racing, cars are timed over a measured section of track, and then this time can be used to work out the average speed with a very basic formula that you might have learnt at school. We could create a super simple timing system of our own, using a reference board and a camera. Now we could simply observe how long the car took to go between these 2 points by watching back the video. We timed a few different cars and worked out their speeds, but expectantly, the lightweight Mini was the fastest of them all. Now it was time for the modifications. So we fitted new axles and bushings to help make the car roll better, and installed a faster motor which would spin more times for the same voltage.
Right, stick it in the Super Mini.
3, 2, 1, go! After running the car on its original test track, we did the maths and found out the car had only gone slightly quicker than before. We'd need to build a bigger track later on to let this lower torque, higher RPM motor get up to speed.
So that's about 8.5 meters. So I think we're going to need a bit more track than that.
But now it was time to start work on car number 2, which would be upgraded in a completely different way. Instead of a standard brush slot car motor, we wanted to see what would happen if we used a much higher performance brushless motor typically found on drones and model aircraft. We had this idea after learning about real land speed record cars from back in the day, which switched from using regular car engines to hugely powerful aero engines. To do this though, I'd need to make a lot of custom parts, such as the motor mount to hold the motor to the chassis, and gearing taking the form of 2 separate gears, one on the motor and one on the drive shaft. And printing gears would end up being the most time-consuming and difficult part of this entire project. We started by using a 1:1 gear ratio, which ended up spinning the wheels so fast that the tyres simply wouldn't stay on the wheels.
Whoa!
With this gear ratio, the car simply didn't have enough torque to start moving, which was obviously a bit of a problem. So we would need to gear down the motor so it spanned for more times than the axle. This certainly helped. We now had a new personal record of 18.8 miles an hour. I'd need to keep working on the gear ratio though, as it seemed the car was still running out of torque when up to speed. Throughout these tests, we also discovered another problem, and that was that we'd need to improve our original way of measuring the speed of the cars, as using a reference board was very slow. What we needed was something that told us the time of the car through the measured section instantly to speed the process up. So we decided to hack a set of athletic training gates that accurately measure the amount of time taken to go from one laser beam to another. Laying these out 6 meters apart, we figured out the time we needed to beat, which would be equivalent to the 30.94 miles an hour Guinness World Record, and that was 0.43 seconds. If we could get a quicker time, that would mean that we'd beaten the record. Over the course of the next week, I experimented with different gear ratios to see how they would affect the performance of our brushless car on this new short test track, going faster and faster.
What's that? 0.6?
Yeah.
Wait. That's even better then.
Yeah?
Hey!
As is usually the case with DIY engineering, this all took a lot of designing, printing, redesigning and reprinting, and using SolidWorks really helped with all of this. If you want to design 3D printed parts for your own projects or hobbies, SolidWorks might be what you're looking for. SolidWorks are sponsoring this project, by the way. I drew up the motor mount part in Xdesign, which is a browser-based design tool from SolidWorks. And yes, this is actually all running on a Mac. Next, I could send the part to my Bamboo Labs P1P 3D printer and get it printed out. And this process from design to finished part was all completed in a matter of minutes. Now, if you didn't know already, SolidWorks have just come out with a new package called SolidWorks for Makers, and this is really cool because it provides professional grade tools for not for commercial use, hobbies and personal projects limited to a maximum of $2,000 profit per year. And all of this is just $48 a year or $15 a month. For that, you'll get a complete software package, access to online support and design communities, and much more. SolidWorks also now supports Mac and Chromebook users with 100% cloud-based apps, so there's nothing to download or install as everything is done in the cloud, including the storage of files. The package includes the Xdesign app and the Xshape app, which can be used to sculpt organic 3D shapes and surfaces. You can, of course, still download 3D Experience SolidWorks just as before for Windows-based PCs, and with these you can save locally or online with data management capability available in the cloud. There is a huge amount included in the SolidWorks for Makers package, so you should definitely check it all out on the website, on the SolidWorks website after this video using my link in the description. Choose SolidWorks to elevate your maker game without compromise and within your means. Click the link in the video description below to get 20% off. Up to now, we'd been testing on a short track of around 10 meters, which clearly wasn't going to let this car get up to full speed. What we really needed for this land speed record project was as long a track as possible. So we decided at this point to put together as much straight track as we could get our hands on in the car park outside, hoping that it wouldn't be too bumpy. Now, this wasn't going to be an actual attempt on the record, but it was a good trial run to see what problems might arise from building such a giant stretch of track.
Yeah, so it seems like the track is going to be a bit of a problem because the thing is, how do you make sure there's power to all of it and that there's no voltage drop, because this is actually a very long track, and also how do you make sure that there's not going to be any gaps with the track? So you might have to figure something out with that. Yeah, anyway, let's see if this car will go a bit faster than it was in the studio.
We made the track as flat as we could before starting our first high-speed run, but we were soon to find out that this was all going to be a lot more difficult than we originally thought.
Oh no! Oh, that could have been really good. Is it in one piece? Well, not on. It's obviously not in one piece, is it? But is it survivable? Has it survived? I think it might just clip back together again.
The fastest time we managed to get out of our brushless car was 0.51, so now we were within 1/10 of a second off our ultimate target of 0.43, and this was on a pretty compromised track with quite a few problems. Despite this, I wasn't too happy with the result, as I expected a little more from our brushless motor. Perhaps it was time to start work on a more radical car. In the world of real land speed record racing, traditional wheel-driven cars only went so far before people switched to using pure thrust-powered vehicles like Thrust SSC, currently the fastest car in the world. So I came up with an idea for a third and final car that wouldn't rely on an electric motor at all. Instead, we would replace the motor with a small rocket engine to propel the car along the track. These model rocket motors can usually be found in hobby stores and are intended for small model rockets that fly to a couple of hundred feet. So theoretically, one of these motors should have more than enough thrust to get a Scalextric car moving at over 30 miles an hour. With that, now we just needed to bring all of the pieces together and finish up each of the 3 cars for their first attempts at the world record. And of course for this, we'd need some striking new paint jobs. Now we had 3 very different Scalextric cars, with very different methodologies and approaches to going fast. Which one of these would be fastest? To find out, we would now make a hopeful first attempt on the Scalextric land speed record out in the car park at ProjectAir HQ. Emma had done some work on connecting track pieces together at set intervals to help with our voltage drop issues, and I was confident that this would help us to go much faster with the electric cars. Right, first of all we're going to be testing the Mini, which is the brushed car, the slightly upgraded Scalextric car with the upgrade parts and all of that sort of thing. The second car is the one that I'm most confident in, it's the brushless car, and then thirdly we're going to test the Rocket Scalextric car, which is a complete unknown. Can we now finally break the Scalextric speed record with one of these cars? We'll see. Good luck.
Let's try and break this record.
Immediately, things started to go south with the first car.
Oh no!
But despite coming off the track at over 500 scale miles an hour, there was thankfully little damage. After gluing the shell back together, we could go for another run. And this time, the Mini did manage to get through the timed section, but it wasn't exactly looking that fast.
Yeah, not great.
Our first car had gone a bit faster than before, but it was still miles off the 30.94 miles an hour record, which was very disappointing.
So unfortunately that's the limit for the brushed car. Now for the more revolutionary brushless car.
I took it very easy on my first run, as I was quite concerned about this fragile car flying off the bumpy track and braking. As that had all gone well, it was now time for a high-speed pass.
57.
Well, that wasn't fast enough. The next try, I gave it a bit more, but strangely, the car was actually slower this time.
Come on. 62, damn.
With our hopes for breaking the record looking more and more unlikely, I opened up the throttle and went for another run.
Oh no! Oh no, that didn't go well at all.
The axle mounts had snapped clean off in this crash, and the car was now effectively written off.
That's so annoying. That means the chassis is basically toast now. I think this might be evidence of the limits of a Scalextric's chassis.
So the brushless car had only gone 23.4 miles an hour, which was very disappointing. The day had gone from bad to worse, and we hadn't even tested the most unpredictable car yet, the rocket car, which was our last hope for the day. And I wasn't very confident.
We're going to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, that didn't go very well. That didn't work, did it? I don't think we went through the other timing gate. Well, I think we should have maybe started with a smaller rocket motor. Maybe we needed some more magnets.
After that test, we had 3 broken cars and an unsuitable test track that was far too bumpy.
There's lots of things we can improve, not just with the cars, but with the track. I think we're going to have to do a bit of thinking, do some repair work, and then have another go.
Clearly, these things take persistence, so I decided on a new course of action. We would rebuild our best performing car and optimise it for a second attempt on a more appropriate track. The brushless car had performed well, but had a few problems. First off, its axle mounts had been far too weak, so I fixed these through gluing in some thicker plastic brackets that could take more of a hit. Secondly, we needed a bit more power to comfortably be in with a chance of getting the record, so I upgraded the motor to a more modern, efficient motor designed for higher performance drones. Thirdly, now I needed to go back through the grueling process of testing gears to find the optimal ratio for the new motor. I found it extremely difficult to balance everything to such a fine margin, but by tweaking axle clearances by fraction of a millimeter, I was able to find a few extra miles an hour.
Oh, yes, 46. Oh, come on. Yes. 4.5. We're so close. That's with this run up here. If we can just get a bit more straight track on a very flat surface, I think we're going to do it.
What we really needed was something like an aircraft hangar, somewhere with enough space to accelerate that bit more to break the 30.94 miles an hour record.
I was really worried that we weren't going to be able to find anywhere to do this test, but the BMFA pulled through and offered me this for this morning, so yeah, thank you very much to them. Alright, we've got all of the track set up, and the great thing about this location is that there's no bumps, it's dead smooth across the entire track, and obviously it's not raining either, so I think this is going to be a much better situation. As we saw from our most recent tests in the ProjectAir workshop, this sort of setup works, we just needed a bit more space, so let's test this thing.
After a couple of shakedown runs, I decided to run the car without its body shell to remove weight. Now I could finally open up the throttle and see what it had got. Could we finally go past that target of 0.43 seconds to achieve the record?
3, 2, 1. Oh! Oh no! 41! 41!
I couldn't quite believe it. We'd actually done it, achieving an average speed of 32.66 miles an hour. But we weren't done yet.
The wheels might have fallen off, but yeah, it still actually managed to go through the end timing gate without slowing down too much. The question is now, can we fix it and go any faster? Oh my goodness, we just went a bit faster.
Somehow on this second run, we managed to get a speed of 33.55 miles an hour, with the car remaining in one piece, which was an incredible result.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
This was 2.6 miles an hour faster than the previous record that had stood for over 16 years. After a lot of work and many late nights, I'd finally achieved my childhood ambition to build the world's fastest Scalextric car.
Whoa!
I think this car could have gone even faster on a longer track, as it definitely wasn't done accelerating by the end of the time section. So I think we're going to have to try this again sometime. I should probably point out that there are a lot of slot cars out there that go faster than this car that we built in this video. But what we were wanting to do was beat the official Scalextric speed record on Guinness World Records. So yeah, we've done that. We've done a very different approach with the brushless motor, and I'm very happy that we were able to do it in the end. Huge thanks to the BMFA again for helping us to make this video. It wouldn't have been possible without them. If you've got to this point of the video, you should definitely leave a like down below and subscribe to ProjectAir for more engineering challenges just like this one. Also, make sure to check out projectair.co.uk, as that's where we post write-ups about all of the projects on ProjectAir, and you can also get a link there to our new newsletter, which is a new thing that we're trying out. And yeah, there'll be more stuff on there for you to get your teeth into about what we're doing, the workshop, behind the scenes videos, things like that. If you enjoyed this project, then you should check out this one next. So click on this one and I will see you in the next video. Cheerio.